Well, let's go right into then. I want each of you to comment on this. February 28th, 1993. I heard about this through the media. No, it was, you know, right off the bat I was suspicious. Okay.
Right.
Tell us about each individually. Tell us about the raid by the VATF, February 28, 1993. What were you doing, and how did you perceive what was happening? Either one of you can.
You want to go first?
Okay. There had been Rodriguez was his name, wasn't it? Brought newspapers in. And then one of the men went out and got some more newspapers so we could all read it. The newspapers were everybody came down to read it. And so the newspapers were all taken apart, and, you know, people were reading different sections of it because there was an article running by the paper that was talking about David. And, of course, they were given their point of view. Well, I went down there, and I could, you know, I was trying to read it, and then I decided, no, I'll wait till everybody finishes, and then I'll get the paper and I'll go upstairs and read it. So I ran upstairs to my room. I didn't stay there very long. When I came down, everyone had dissipated, gone to their own rooms, and I hunted around and picked up the different sections to finish the article. And as we had two big windows in the foyer, and I was in the far window, and as I looked out, I saw these vehicles coming in. And I start from my room and I look out the second window, and when I do, I see that they're coming in, and I knew they would not go down the road because there was nothing down there. I could see that they were going to stop in front. There's two big cattle trailers. And I wondered, what in the world are the men going to do with those? Because lots of times the men would have something that they would be doing, and the women would not be absolutely conscious of everything they were doing at the time.
You thought it was Branch Davidian?
Oh yes, I thought it was somebody had gone out and got these two big cattle trailers for a reason. And so I ran up the back way to my room, and I threw the papers on my bed, and I was about to lay down when I heard this terrific noise. I knew it was helicopters. I went to the window because I was in the back of the building. And I looked out, and when I did, I saw these three helicopters in V formation. And actually, they were heading toward the end of the building, the north side, and the big water tower that was still standing. And they were firing. And I know, I just stood there stunned, because I couldn't believe this was happening. You know, it's like looking at a movie and then realizing it's a reality. And they were firing at David's room. There was no other spot on the building that they could have hit at that particular time. And I stood there watching, and I could see the shooting, and I could hear it, and I knew what was going on. And then they started to turn. Well, they were between the second and the third floor, and I'm on the second floor. And I realized if they start to turn, I very likely am going to get hit. So I got down on the floor as they're turning, and then, of course, as they're turning, they're not firing until they get around a way, and then they start to shoot again. Now, there was no shooting before that. And then, apparently, I figured by the time they got to the front of the building, that's when all the shooting started in the front. But they had already hit our water tanks and killed...
Peter Jant?
No, Peter Jant was...
Winston Blake.
It was Winston Blake that was on his bed with a piece of toast in his hand.
Right.
And it had gone through the water tanks and went into his room. Jadine was up in her bed, she was at the second tier, and she was on the second floor down from my room. And she had just given her baby to her older daughter, and when she got shot and killed in bed. And after that, it was just shooting. And everybody hit the floor. All the women took the children and put them under them. And I kept thinking, they're going to come over that roof, you know. If I had come in and attacked a place, that's where I would have come. It was the most vulnerable spot because that roof was only about 3 feet at the most to the bottom of the windows. And the windows were open. And I thought they were along where our rooms were and then went along the hallway. And I thought, surely somebody's going to try it. So I kept looking at that, and they kept yelling at me to get down because one of the girls that was doing the screaming at me to get down said, you're going to get hit, because she could feel the bullets going through her hair, and she's laying on the floor. How I didn't get hit, I don't know. Anyway, that's what was going on at that particular time. Nobody moved. Even when I left, the women were still on the floor with the children because we had no idea whether they were going to come back or not. And they kept it up for about 45 minutes.
Clive, do you